My friend's Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart was announced last month, and if you saw at the end of the trailer, there was a new Lombax. I don't know, you might have missed it. If you're a casual fan, then this might not be a big deal to you, but you probably still have some questions as to why everybody is clearly so hyped to this. We're gonna answer that in this video, and if you are a big fan, and you were screaming at the top of your lungs when you saw that Lombax like me, then we're also gonna talk about why we were screaming at the top of our lungs. So, who is this Lombax? So I tried to organize these talking points into 3 main categories here. What we know that is confirmed, what we can guess and speculate based on that, and then just further analysis on what she could mean for the overall story in this game. First of all, Insomniac Games did confirm over on their Twitter that this Lombax is in fact a Lombax and is in fact female, and I know it's a little confusing because she has a tail and female Lombaxes supposedly aren't supposed to have tails. Angela, she's not a man, she's not transgender, she just has a tail and is a female Lombax. I suppose just because it's an alternative dimension, they can just totally retcon the whole tail thing because it's a different dimension. Oh, Lombaxes just have tails in this dimension. They can just do that. I'm not sure it's much deeper than that, to be honest. Maybe Angela just happened to lose her tail and they could just say that, but I doubt they even will. Now, this nameless Lombax is also confirmed to be playable. Hell yeah. Now, that'll kind of transition into the second portion of this. Since she is playable, is she gonna have her own moveset? I mean, she does have a hammer, like Ratchet has his wrench. I mean, it's just a melee weapon, so I mean, what more is it than just swinging it around, you know, and bang, bang. It'll likely be pretty similar. I can imagine maybe like one special attack of some kind. I have no idea what. It was something probably hammering. And different combos, probably different animations for them. And she might be swinging like a little slower maybe even too, or have like a heavy set mode like in like Final Fantasy VII or something, the remake. But aside from melee combat, what about her arsenal? See, I was talking to my people in my Discord. Hey, link in the description, join our Discord. I talk to y'all all the time. I'll even join the voice chat sometimes. Anyways, I was talking to them there, and we were talking about this Lombax, and I was like, wait a second. She's gonna be a playable character. She might take up a good portion of the game. We'll talk about that later. Will she have her own unique weapon arsenal? It's a different dimension. They likely don't even have the same weapons in this other dimension that Ratchet would, whatever spaces he explores throughout the game. My only question and concern is, will each character only have like half of a normal arsenal that you would in a Ratchet and Clank game? Like, are you only gonna have like 1 full weapon wheel for each character, or like 2 full weapon wheels? Like 2 full weapon wheels is more than usual even each. That's 4 full weapon wheels. It's pretty good. At minimum, I would hope for that much, but like 3 full ones would be great. But yeah, I think it's a pretty good chance that it's gonna be like that. Now, we don't really know how much of the game she's going to be playable for. Is she going to be away from Ratchet? According to the trailer, Clank seems to be abandoned in this other dimension with this female Lombax. You would just assume they're going to team up, and Clank's going to be on her back, and you'll do it like that. We'll talk about that in a second. But is it going to be like a crack in time where you're switching back and forth between these perspectives, and eventually they'll kind of merge at the end or near the end? Or, not to spoil anything, but I hope it's not like The Last of Us Part 2. If you know, you know. I just hope you get to level up these weapons like roughly at the same time. You don't have to like do half the game with one character and their weapons and then just switch over to the rest of the half. I doubt it'll be like that. I doubt it will. I'm scarred after playing The Last of Us, man. We'll just have to wait and see. Anyways, back to Clank though. People are wondering, is she gonna have her own Clank? Honestly, I don't really see a reason to believe so. There's only really 2 reasons. First of all, because she has a robotic arm. Potentially her own Clank did that for her. Although there is a chance, I would suggest maybe, since Nefarious has taken over here in this dimension. If you notice in the shot where it shows the whole city, you'll see a big red light. I assume that's the Bio-Obliterator, potentially a different version of it. Maybe she just got her arm Bio-Obliterated. If you don't know, up your arsenal, it turns organic life into robots, so maybe it just hit her arm, potentially. Looks a little too custom to be like that though, if I'm being honest. But about that arm, see, I wonder if she's gonna have Clank, is he gonna be alone? Because the gameplay they showed, you do have Clank, but he also has this Iron Man repulsor glove to do these strafe moves, which are pretty dope. I imagine this female Lombax with her robotic arm would probably have the same move set. I would imagine, but maybe not. She could probably do something cool with it. Maybe it's like a grappling hook effect with it. She can pop it off and, you know. But since Clank assists you with your mobility and gameplay, is she gonna have Clank and use Clank, or is she gonna be able to function without him? What about Ratchet? You know? So maybe that's the only other reason I would believe that she would have her own companion, but I assume she might just be capable on her own, or maybe even Ratchet will, as he was in A Crack in Time, just minus the high jump, but you don't really need that. So I guess this would now be moving on to the third part, which is actually the main part of this, seemingly, and not so much about the gameplay, but now moving on to, like, story-wise, how does she affect this game? Well, first of all, I'm gonna point out she is not in the Lombax dimension. She seems to be. I said this in my last video, if you didn't see that, where I talk about, what did I talk about? What timeline this game is in, and if it continues into the Nexus or the PS4 game. So if you want to check that out. But I mentioned in there, one of the cities where in the trailer Ratchet and Clank were sliding down that glass, it looks like Planet Igliac Meridian City from Tools of Destruction and into the Nexus. Ratchet and Clank fly through what seems to be that same city that Clank is abandoned in, and they don't recognize it. And I imagine because it's taken over by Nefarious, because later you see Clank is in that same city, but you can see a bigger shot of the city, and it looks pretty identical to where they were sliding down that glass, which I believe to be Meridian City. So definitely not the Lombax dimension. A lot of people are making the assumption that this is just a female version of Ratchet, or Ratchet's a girl now, something like that. No, I don't think it's that deep. I'm pretty sure, like, she's just gonna have her own story. She's gonna have her own unique backstory. It's probably not even gonna be the same as, like, who even knows that the Lombaxes are gone in a different dimension in her dimension. Just because the Lombaxes of Ratchet's dimension moved to a different dimension doesn't mean the Lombaxes of her dimension moved to a different dimension, but maybe they did, because there's wanted posters of just kind of a generic Lombax figure, so that kind of leads you to believe she's the only one, unless Nefarious is just after any and all Lombaxes. And for the sake of time, we'll talk about Nefarious more in depth in a future video, so make sure you're subscribed and have the bell on, looking out for that video. But yes, she's definitely in this alternative dimension of a planet that you've been to in the past games, where Nefarious, a different Nefarious, has seemingly taken over. Again, we'll talk about that more later. But when you see this female Lombax, Clank says, "Ratchet?"
Ratchet.
And she appears and says, "Who?"
Who?
To me, I mean, that's pretty clear that she just doesn't know who Ratchet is. I mean, Ratchet is kind of known everywhere. We're seemingly in a city that is supposed to know Ratchet and Clank, and she doesn't know him, so he just doesn't exist in this dimension. I'd say maybe there's a slight chance she does know who Ratchet is, but doesn't know that name, because if you'll recall, TJ Fixman, the writer of the Future Games trilogy, anthology, whatever you want to call it, did confirm Ratchet is not his birth name. So there's a chance that she does know who Ratchet is, but she does not recognize that name. Apparently, TJ Fixman also confirmed that Angela and Max Apogee escaped, so there's somehow, maybe if it's somehow connected, she knows them and figured out who Ratchet is. But if that's the case, then she would know Ratchet's name, Ratchet. So if this female Lombax knew anybody that Ratchet knew, she would know Ratchet's name, but it seemingly she does not know at least his name. Maybe she knows who he is, but again, not his birth name. So it would make sense if they're potentially from the same dimension and wound up in this wrong dimension where Nefarious has taken over. We don't know that she is from this dimension that Clank landed in. This dimension stuff, man, it's really confusing. This makes these videos really hard, because I can speculate about literally anything and it could be right. And I'll touch on the art book Easter egg, which I have talked about before in other videos, where they tease that something in the art book could tease at where the franchise may go beyond, I think it's in 2018, 2016, whatever. And the notable concept art in that book is a Lombax society taken over by the Kragmite race. So as of right now, we have no reason to believe that the Kragmites are going to be in this game. I would suggest, again, I want to talk about this in another video too, but I believe this could be the start of potentially a new trilogy. At least this won't be the last game. I'm sure of that. We'll talk about it again more in a future video. Subscribe, hit the bell, look out for that. But if they are gonna stick with that, which I don't believe they have a reason to stick with that, just because they said this could hint at where the franchise may go doesn't mean this is exactly where the franchise may go. It's just something about that where it could just be the Lombax part, maybe not even the Kragmite part, maybe they just scrap that. But if they are gonna stay true to that, I would imagine it would either be teased at the end of this game, or like that'll be the conclusion potentially, or the climax of this new trilogy, potentially. Again, can't really know. But if you really want to know more about this next game, you should probably go in the description and join my Discord and follow me on Twitch. I've been doing a lot of streaming. We just recently got a subscriber button. If you want to be so generous and subscribe over on my Twitch, that'd be great. We're adding more emotes as we go and unlock them. Playing lots of games. We'll definitely keep up with the URCP, Ultimate Ratchet and Clank playthrough, every single game to 100%. I'm starting Going Commando soon, if I haven't already by the time this video comes up. But anyways, go on my Twitch, follow that at least for when that happens. Again, we do other games as well as they come out, like Ghost of Tsushima is about to come out. I don't know when this video that I'm recording right now is going to come out, but that's happening eventually. And again, my Discord, I have lots of fun talking with everyone on Discord. You guys can make me emotes that I can put in the Discord, maybe on Twitch. I'll even hop in the voice chat sometimes if y'all are chatting it up in there. I love talking to y'all. Again, that whole second Arsenal part about this female Lombax came because I was talking to people in Discord, so come join, throw your ideas around. I'd love to hear about it all. Like, leave a comment. What do you think this female Lombax is going to be? What are we going to see from her? How is she going to play and tie into this story? Subscribe, hit the bell. Lots more Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart videos coming up, as well as other playthroughs, long plays, fun other Ratchet and Clank videos, non-Ratchet and Clank videos, all sorts of gaming content that I enjoy doing. Thank you for your time. I love you all. I'll see you soon. Peace.